Have you ever seen a sale that just seems a little too good to be true? Or maybe you've read a headline with a number so big it just makes your head spin. Well, today we're going to crack the code on the numbers that are all around us. We're talking about fractions and percentages and how they can be your secret weapon, but also how they can be a little deceptive. So let's kick things off with something I know you've seen before. You're out shopping, a sign catches your eye, and it looks like the deal of a lifetime. But is it really as amazing as it seems? So here's the puzzle. A store's offering 20% off plus an additional 15% off on top of that. Now, your brain immediately adds those up, right? It screams, hey, that's 35% off. But is that really what's happening here? Let's dig in. Now, to solve this very modern shopping puzzle, we're actually going to need a tool that's been around for, well, thousands of years. It's a really fundamental way of seeing the world in pieces. Check this out. This is the rhind papyrus. It's an ancient Egyptian text from over 3,500 years ago. And it just goes to show you, humans have been using fractions forever to solve all kinds of real-world problems, from dividing up food to building the pyramids. So this isn't just some boring classroom math. It's a core human idea. Okay, quick refresher, just so we're all on the same page. A fraction at its heart is just a part of a whole. The top number, that's the numerator, tells you how many parts you have. And the bottom number, the denominator, tells you how many parts make up the entire thing. Think of it like a pizza, right? If it's cut into 4 slices, that's your denominator, and you've got 3 of those slices, that's your numerator, then you have 3/4 of the whole pizza. It's as simple as that. All right, so now that we've got that solid foundation with fractions, let's use that knowledge to crack the code of our shopping discount puzzle. And here is the absolute key to it all. A percentage is nothing more than a special kind of fraction where the bottom number, the denominator, is always 100. That's it. So when you see 20%, it literally just means 20 parts out of 100. Okay, let's solve this mystery. Let's make it easy and say an item costs $100. The first 20% discount is simple. It takes off $20. So now the price is $80. But here's the trick. That additional 15% discount comes off the new price of $80. Not the original $100. And 15% of $80 is $12. So the final price is $68. The total you saved was $32, which is a 32% discount off the original price, not 35%. And that right there is the crucial point. The second percentage applies to a smaller number, which makes the discount itself smaller. That's how these stacked discounts always work, and it's why it's so important to ask, a percentage of what? All right, you've totally mastered sequential discounts, so let's level up. Here's a new challenge that trips up a lot of people. Trying to work backwards to find an original price. Okay, so you see this awesome jacket. It's on sale for $108 after a 10% discount. So what did it cost before the sale? Let's figure it out. Now, here's the trap almost everyone falls into. They just add 10% of the sale price back on. But that's wrong, because that original 10% was taken from a bigger mystery number. The real key is to flip your thinking. If 10% was taken off, that means the $108 you paid is 90% of the original price. So to find 100%, you just divide $108 by 0.90, and voila! The true original price was $120. And this brings us to a golden rule. Seriously, if you remember one thing today, make it this. A percentage change, whether it's going up or down, is always based on the original starting value. Always. Remembering that will save you from so many common math traps. So, we've seen how thinking in fractions and percentages helps us make sense of everyday numbers. But what about the numbers that are, well, not so everyday? This same basic idea of breaking things down helps us handle the absolutely massive and the incredibly tiny. I mean, a number like this, it's just huge. And trying to write out all those zeros is just asking for a mistake. And it's the exact same problem on the other end of the scale with tiny decimals. Counting all those zeros is tedious, and it's so easy to get it wrong. There has to be a better way, right? Well, there is. It's called standard form, or you might know it as scientific notation. It's a super compact, really clear way to write these huge or tiny numbers. You just express them as a number between 1 and 10, and then multiply it by a power of 10. Let's see how it works with, say, 320,000. First, you turn it into a number that's between 1 and 10. So that gives us 3.2. Simple enough.
Next, you just count how many places you had to move the decimal point to get there. In this case, it was 5 spots. That number becomes the power of 10. So the number in standard form is just 3.2 times 10 to the power of 5.
And this isn't just some neat math trick. This is literally the language of science. It's how an astronomer can write down the distance to another galaxy. We're talking a number with 19 zeros, on the same page as a biologist writing the diameter of a single blood cell. It lets us understand and compare the entire scale of our universe. So let's bring it all home. Understanding these concepts, it's not about passing some test. It's about gaining a real practical superpower for navigating the world around you. So what are the big takeaways? First, remember that a percentage is just a fraction out of 100. That's all it is. Second, those back-to-back discounts always apply to the new price, not the original one. And third, if you need to reverse a percentage change, always think about the percentage that's left over. Getting this stuff down really does give you the power to see through misleading stats, understand your own finances, and just generally make smarter decisions. They say numbers don't lie, but the way they're presented, that can be a whole different story. Now that you have the tools to decode them, what are you going to see differently the next time you're in a store or reading a headline? Thanks for tuning in.